I've been sharing with the community a list of general suggestions for generating bodhicitta that Geshe Dorje Damdul had given us a few years ago. And I've wanted to see these as the kind of practices that I can do in daily life, although what they're asking is quite a profound and vast way of thinking. But it's a good place to start. So there are 8 in the list, and we've gone through 3 of them, and I'll just review those very quickly, and then I want to share the contemplations that I've been doing in the past few days about the 4th one. So the first one, anger is the worst enemy of bodhicitta. Combat it. As much as possible, look for the goodness in the other person. Everyone has some good qualities, at least. Number 3, as best as I am able, say yes when it comes to helping someone, particularly when I am busy, stressed, or under similar situations. This is the test. You will discover this is a great training and thus a great opportunity. Try your best not to say, this is not possible because of that, that is not possible because of this. See if there's always some way in which to help make it happen. So, very high, vast aspirations to have for generating bodhicitta. So the 4th one I've been doing the past few days, and I've been really, it's been quite moving. And I've done somewhat of an alteration of it because I can't do exactly what's been suggested here in number 4. As best as I am able, think of my relationship and another person, particularly a difficult one, in the light of a mother and her only cute small child. Well, I can't get there yet as far as seeing the enemies, the difficult people I have in my mind as my cute small child. But I will, I made a different kind of attempt at this. So the way that I'm imagining it, and this can be for someone who we have difficulty with in our life in a very personal way. And right now, these days, I've been trying very much to take onto the cushion my difficulties with what is going on in the world with a lot of our world leaders and our political system. I've been quite distressed by the tragedies unfolding in many of our countries around the world and the whole political process in this country. And so I'm trying to put our dear nominees for president and the presidents of Syria and the Chinese folks and the gang leaders in Mexico, and trying to find a way to make some peace and to be able to hold them in my heart with some compassion. So what I do is okay, I'll take it for instance. One of our Republican nominees, Mr. Gingrich. And I go back into his life and I see him as a small baby. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that Mr. Gingrich was probably a pretty cute baby when he was born. He's got that kind of face, those big bright blue eyes, and that quick smile. I bet he was just adorable. And so I focus on him, and I see him as a newborn. I see him as helpless. I see him as needing protection. I see him as needing food, warmth, love, and care. And I see his family just absolutely in love with him. You know, they're very welcomed, joyful at having him. And seeing him as cute, inquisitive, afraid, sleeping, unsure. You know, not as he's a baby trying to find his way navigating the world. And so where the compassion, the bodhicitta, where I'm working on is that unbeknownst to this little Newt, when he was in that baby body, unbeknownst to him, his mental continuum that came into the body has the energy traces and the karmic imprints of virtue and non-virtue since beginningless time. Unbeknownst to him, he doesn't have a clue. His family doesn't have a clue. America doesn't have a clue of the karmic seeds in that mind and which ones are going to ripen in this life. And that as we go on and he comes into his adulthood, we see that this baby's continuity of mind, that the karmic predispositions have come to manifest, the conditionings that he had in the family. And the fact that he is in a position of power and influence and very charismatic to many people is that he also had a lot of virtuous imprints ripen in this life. And so I try to see that as in my own mind, under the control of afflictions and karma, the confusion of perhaps not being clear about what to cultivate and what to abandon, how to find the causes of happiness within his own life and how to avoid suffering. And that, like all of us, he has a very distorted, confused way of going about it. And that in positions of power, of whether it's, Mr. Gingrich or President Assad or Gaddafi, is that in those places of power, it's not only the harm that they're causing themselves and the causes they're creating for future suffering, but the tragedy that unfolds with all these many, many beings who also have the karmic imprints to receive suffering and to have the experience of suffering. So when I put myself in relationship to him as this small baby who now is manifesting the karmic imprints as a grown man, I'm sure he has many good qualities in there. There are many people who love him and care for him very much. Is that I have this compassion come in my mind because he's trying so hard to be happy and not suffer, just like me. And he ends up literally, almost literally like me, shooting himself in the foot over and over again in his attempts. And if that doesn't generate some sort of compassion, some sort of relationship, that if I were his mother, I would want only the best for him. I would want him not to have to scramble and manipulate and use all of his good qualities for all the wrong reasons. And so it brings up kind of this softness in my heart around him, that I see him as someone that I would really wish the very best for. And if I was his mom, I would really be concerned, and I would only want him to be happy and not suffer. So in generating bodhicitta, I know I'm a long ways away from that, but it certainly has opened my heart to have some compassion for him. And likewise, Venerable has shared that many of the incarcerated men that we write to over the years, that their moms, despite what has happened to their sons, they stay so hard connected to them. They never give up on them in some fundamental way. And that they still have hope for them, they still love them, they still wish that they would be able to take responsibility for what they've done, and that they'll never abandon them. And we've had the incarcerated men have similarly the same feeling about their mothers. So I would love to have that kind of love as some of the mothers of incarcerated people in our country to have towards not only Mr. Gingrich, but for all the people that bring a sense of concern and a sense of upset in my mind, that I would be able to see them through the light of compassion. And having hope that because we have these lifetimes where we can continually transform our minds, and that our minds are empty of any inherent existence, that the possibility is always there. And so that's how I'm taking number 4, to see Mr. Gingrich and all the incarcerated people and all the world leaders who are just causing such harm, being confused about how best to serve, to see them as these very, very small, cute children who have just simply come into a state of mass confusion. And may I wish them well, may I use whatever my feelings are that arise in relationship to what they're doing, may I be able to use it to generate bodhicitta rather than aversion, rather than hostility, rather than wishing harm upon them. And so that's how I'm using number 4. And hopefully, in the climate of the world, hopefully you can find this helpful at some level. Thank you.